guest is legendary. And he's a friend of mine. He's a great guy. And one of the things I really wanted to get you guys to get from this particular guy is very few people can say they're the best in the world or something. And this particular guy has the honor and privilege of saying he's been the best in the world or something. And what I want to do is talk about what made him the best of the world and how we as entrepreneurs can use that information for what the things that he did, how we can use that information to improve ourselves, to make our businesses better, to make ourselves better. Because I think in this particular time, like what we're facing with the COVID-19, I think that sometimes you have to be extraordinary in order to still like raise above the fray. And you have to do extraordinary things sometimes to make money during these times. But I think this is the time where wealth is going to change hands at a greater level than it has probably since we've ever known, because so many businesses are going out of business. So many things are closed. So many people are losing money. The stock market's upside down. So we definitely want to take advantage of this time. And I think in order to take advantage of this time, we have to have what I call a champion mindset. And that's what I want our next guest to talk about. I'm going to play a video of our next guest really quickly. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring him on so he can start talking.
There is not a 3 knockdown rule is the word that we get, not as Luis Rivera said in the instructions. And Smith still right on his man. 1 minute remaining in the round, a long way to go. Witherspoon's still in trouble. Down he goes again, and now it's over. Rivera stops the fight.
The fight is over. A monumental upset.
And I believe Rivera stopped the fight based on a 3 knockdown rule, which was not in effect.
I'm speechless now. I didn't think that would happen.
First of all, I want to say good evening, James. How you doing?
Hello, Joe. Can you see me and hear me?
Yes, I can see you and hear you. Can everybody hear James okay? Hopefully so. Okay, good. Yeah, we can see you and hear you, man. Looking good.
Thank you. You're looking good, too.
Hopefully you're staying safe during the coronavirus out here. Hopefully you're staying safe and in the house and doing well.
Yeah, I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I moved to Myrtle Beach 10 years ago, and we're staying in. I went out a little bit today, went to Walmart, and did a little shopping. But other than that, we planted a garden, and we're doing good.
Awesome. So I want to know about your upbringing. As a kid, did you always have drive, desire? Tell us a little bit about your upbringing and how you came up.
Would you like me to tell me what happened and how I became heavyweight champion of the world?
That'd be fine. You can tell us that.
Well, when I was about 6 years old, ladies and gentlemen, I was a little crybaby. Can you look at me now? Can you believe Bonecrusher was ever little?
No.
Or a crybaby, ended up fighting 10 world champions. And I had convinced myself I was not going to school. Now, I grew up in a little small town in North Carolina, Magnolia, and once my teacher, my mom and daddy sent me to school, and I didn't want to go to school. And once I got there, I ran away from my teacher, because once my teacher caught me, she started whooping me with a fan belt. You guys know what a fan belt is. It makes a car run. It made me run too. And I got mad with my teacher. And it'd be many years later, I write a book called Mad, Make a Decision, Joe. Now, I'm 6 years old. And the rule was, if I got a whooping at school, I was going to get at least one more when I got home. My teacher sent a note by me to my mama. And my mama looked at me. She says, you got a whooping at school? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, go get me a switch. And I was smarting back then. I got the smallest switch I could find. My mama broke that switch. And she said, I said, go get me a switch. So I had to go back in the woods and get a bigger switch. Now, turn around, Odell. As she would hit me with that switch, she was pronouncing words. Didn't I tell you if you got a whooping at school, I was going to whoop you too? I got mad with my mama. Daddy came home. Daddy whooped with his belt, and I got mad with Daddy. So at age 6, I made 2 decisions. One, I was going to school. And two, if I ever got grown, I was going to whoop some people. But the maddest I've ever been was December 1986. I was suing the great promoter, Don King. You guys have heard of Don King.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls me up. I was suing him. He was suing me because he had promised me a world title fight, and he didn't get it. So I got me another promoter. And Bonecrusher, this is Donald King. I pretend I didn't hear him. I said, who? He said, this is Don King. I said, hey, Don, how you doing? He said, Bone, I have some good news for you. I said, what is it, Don? He said, I'm going to give you that world title fight. I'm going to give you some money, too. I said, well, Don, who is the fight with? When is it? And where is it going to be? He said, well, I got some bad news, Bone. I said, what's that, Don? He said, the fight is going to be against the guy that beat you last year, Tim Witherspoon. I said, uh-oh. I said, Don, when is this fight? And where is it going to be? He said, Bone, the fight is going to be on HBO. You got a chance to redeem yourself on HBO. Show the world who you are, Bone, on HBO. I said, Don, when is this fight? And where is it going to be? He said, Bone, the fight is going to be at Madison Square Garden, New York, and it's going to be next week. I said, Don, you mean to tell me you're going to give me a 7-day notice to fight a guy? And the last time I had plenty of time to train, get ready, and he beat me all across the ring from pillar to post? He said, yeah, take it or leave it. I said, Don, can you give me a minute to think about it? Yeah. I said, well, Don, I was old when I started boxing, and I have a dream. I said, I'm mad with you and Witherspoon, and be many years later, I'm going to write a book called Mad, Make a Decision. And so needless to say, the picture that you guys saw introduced me early on, well, that was the Witherspoon fight, Madison Square Garden, HBO. I knocked Witherspoon down 3 times in the first round to become heavyweight champ of the world. And because I'd gone to college at Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina, I became the first college graduate to become heavyweight champ of the world. Now, bring us up to date. I moved to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina 10 years ago, and I'm in Myrtle Beach now. But the champion mindset, that's what Joe asked me to talk about. I believe that things that going to cross our paths, and we're going to have to make a decision, and we're going to have to decide, we're going to have to make up our mind that what we're doing is what we're supposed to be doing. And sometimes it's not going to be easy. Sometimes it could be anything that cross our path, get in our way. And but you have to prove, you might not have to prove it every day, but sometimes you have to prove that you are who you say you are, and you know why you're here. God give us all a chance, a purpose in life. And I think the earlier you can decide and determine what that purpose is and what you're supposed to be doing, I think the better off you're going to be. And that's all part of having that champion mindset, knowing what your purpose is and what you're supposed to be doing.
I can stop it from here. Okay. Yeah. And, that's amazing that you had 7 days to prepare to try to fight someone to win a world championship. I mean, I think that's unheard of. The other thing is, too, that's a fun fact.
And he beat me the year before.
For him to beat you the year before, you to have 7 days to prepare is actually amazing. The other fun fact that I wanted to mention is that you mentioned about how you went to college, and that is an actual Jeopardy question. Who was the first heavyweight champion of the world who had a college degree? And that answer is James Bonecrusher Smith. So if you're ever on Jeopardy, then you'll know the answer to that question. But what I do want to dig deep into, James, is mentally, what did you feel you had to do in order to prepare yourself for that fight? And what type of training were you doing?
Well, I grew up on a farm, and we learn how to work hard. And I think, no matter what your field, no matter what you're doing in life, it takes hard work. And working hard is about 50% of it. And then, it's mental attitude. You got to believe that what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing. Probably about, I would say, 80 or 90% is mental. And then the other 10% is just working hard, just believing. It's biblical, believing that, to be able to be saved, now you have to believe that Jesus died on the cross for us, and we just part of the resurrection and dying and rising and all that's part of salvation.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I definitely agree with you. What was your training regimen like? How much did you train? How many hours a day? Tell us about your training.
Well, I would get up. I would train 5 days a week. I take off on Sundays and Wednesdays, but I work hard for 5 days. And I would get up in the morning and run. Depending on who I was fighting, I normally run about 3 miles. When I fought Tyson, I ran about 6 miles, and because I knew it was going to be a hard fight. And I did wind sprints. I did about 10 wind sprints, so it built my stamina, my wind, and and then about 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, anywhere from 12 to 2 o'clock, I would go in the gym and work out. I'd hit the heavy bags, shadow box first, and then hit the heavy bag, speed bag. If I had somebody to spar with, I'd box them a little bit, and we jump rope, and I could do that in about anywhere from about an hour and a half in the gym, and that was considered my workout for the day. For the big fights, I'd go up in the mountains of North Carolina, up in Morganton. Art Linkletter had a place up in it was near Hickory, North Carolina, and not too far from where you are, and South Mountain. They had a golf course, country club up there, and I'd get away from my family and everything. And when I come out of those mountains, man, I'd be like a mountain lion.
Do you think that when you were up in the mountains, you didn't have as many distractions? Was that what helped you when you went up in the mountains?
Right. Yeah, that's right.
So I want to pull that point out because I want to give one point is I know for myself and for most entrepreneurs, especially right now when we're working at home, that one of the number one things that hurts us is distractions. I know for me, if I'm working on something and then I stop to do something else, it's hard for me to get back into that mindset. So I'm pulling out one thing that you're saying is limit distractions in order to create success.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Limit total focus.
Okay.
Focus is the key.
Okay. And so then when you would work, you'd be focused. I'm assuming that you said you worked a few hours. For those hours that you work were very intense.
Very, very intense.
Yeah, because I noticed with a lot of successful people, sometimes they may not work as many hours, but in the time frame they have, they get a lot done. And they're extremely focused. Because I know some people can work 8 hours and not get as much done as people can work in 4 hours.
Because they mind drift. Yes. Your mind, you can't allow your mind to drift.
Yeah, and I think that does happen to a lot of people. I know like with a lot of the real estate investors that are on the line tonight, that's part of what their problem is. That and consistency. Were you consistent with your workout? I mean, is that what helped you in the 7-day period? Were you already in shape because you worked out consistently?
Yeah, well, yeah, and I never got out of shape. I didn't do any drinking and partying and stuff. A lot of the guys partied, got out of shape, and then it took them a long time to get in shape. Now, I started late, 28 years old when I started, and so I knew I couldn't afford to get out of shape. So I stayed in shape pretty much all the time. Then when I got closer to the fight, 4 to 6 weeks, I'd go up to the mountains and I'd put a little edge or a little get sharp. We call it get sharp. Okay. Edge. You know.
And I think that's what this time is right now with us, because everybody's stuck in the house. This should be the equivalent of going up in the mountains and getting sharp, because we are in the house. We don't have a lot of distractions. Now is the time for us to really be working on our dreams and preparing for when we go back into the community, when the government, the economic parts open back up to really be able to go hard. So I'm trying to pull out the different lessons and the things that made you one of the best in the world. Now you defended, how many times did you defend your title?
Well, I was one time. I mean, I had to fight Mike Tyson to, we were part of the HBO tournament.
Okay. Was Mike Tyson a hard fight?
So, yeah, he won a decision over me. But I'm the first guy to take him all 12 rounds.
And that's amazing, because when I would watch Tyson's fights, I think, most people say, hey, I don't want to pay for Tyson's fight because they don't last but 1 or 2 minutes. For you to take 12 rounds.
Everybody out, and he got to me, and I took him 12 rounds.
Wow, that means you're definitely a tough person. So, have you ever faced adversity during the time you're a boxer? Something that you had to overcome? I know you said you started late. I don't know if that's the adversity you felt you faced, but what is some adversity you feel like you faced during your career?
My very first fight was on ESPN, and I got knocked out my very first fight. Fought a guy named James Broad. He's Olympic champion. Well, he in the 80s, the United States didn't go to the Olympics. It was in Russia, but he won the Olympic trials, and he was going to participate. But the United States boycotted the Olympics in 1980. I fought him my first fight, and he stopped me in the fourth round.
Okay. Did you ever have any injuries?
Mentally, and I had to reassess if boxing really was for me. To get knocked out on national television, worldwide TV, ESPN. I had to go back to the drawing board and really pray and ask God, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? But I was a test.
I like that.
And not only in sports, but in business, we're going to confront tests as well. I mean, every day is not going to be a good day. So we're going to have sunshine, rain, cloudy, storm, different things going to happen in our life, and we got to learn how to deal with it.
Very, very good analogy. Very good analogy. And I think that's one of the things that hurts a lot of entrepreneurs. They get knocked down. They have a setback, something happens, and then they don't get back up, or they never recover, or they use that as an excuse to quit. And so what you saying is, hey, I got knocked out on my first major fight on ESPN, but then I kept on going. Yeah.
Knocked out.
Knocked out. And then you came back to become the heavyweight champion of the world. I mean, that's an amazing comeback.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I had to do some soul searching, and no matter what you're into or what you're doing, what kind of business you're in, every now and then you have to do some soul searching.
Wow.
Follow me.
Wow. A couple of different questions that came up in the chat. Who mentored you is the first question.
Who's my mentor?
Who mentored you?
Well, I mean, I followed Muhammad Ali, and I just followed him. And really, I grew up on a farm, so I guess my mother and father was my mentors, and they taught us how to respect people. They taught us how to work hard, and I mentioned them in my book. Now I mentioned them, in a lot of my materials and stuff. And Mom and them, I said, Mom and them was my mentors.
That is great mentors to have. What is your favorite book? That's the next question I have for you.
The Bible.
Okay. Why the Bible?
Well, I read the Bible all the time, and it's if you study the Bible, pay close attention to it. I mean, your life will be it's a roadmap for your life.
Mm-hmm. That is very true. There's a rabbi, his name is Daniel Lapkin, and he has a couple different books about the Bible being a business book. And he pulls out the techniques in the Bible that are related to business. He also pulls away the myths that why Christians think they should be broke, but they shouldn't. He's a Jewish guy. He talks also in one of his other books about why Jewish people are very financially successful, and they use the Bible in order to do it. So great book. His name is Daniel Lapkin. He's got quite a few good books.
Solomon was one of the richest men in history. I mean, he may have been the richest man ever. Mm-hmm. Solomon in the Bible.
You're absolutely right. Here's another question that someone has is, when you got knocked out, did a lot of your friends and family walk away from you? No,
because at that point, they really wasn't on board anyway. They didn't walk away because they wasn't even there. I mean, they didn't really get on board until about my 10th fight. I think when I went to London to knock down Frank Bruno, I was like 13-1, something like that. and that was the NBC fight, and I'm in London, and Bruno was undefeated, and I went there and I knocked him out in the last round.
Wow.
And that's when people started really believing that I was going somewhere.
Yeah. Is that tough sometimes when you go from kind of famous to really famous? Because being the heavyweight champion of the world during that time, I mean, now it's big, but back then it was really big.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you deal with the fact that you went from a regular fighter to now I'm the champ and everybody wants a piece of you at that point?
Well, you know, it's good to have loving parents that teach you right from wrong and how to do things and teach you character. You know, and I stayed in North Carolina as opposed to going to New York and to live, you know, the big cities. Didn't go to Las Vegas or places like that. I fought in those places, but always came back. And it's North Carolina is more of a slow pace, and Magnolia is a real slow pace. And so I didn't get caught up in the stuff that a lot of guys get caught up in.
It's very, very true. I think that happens to a lot of athletes, a lot of celebrities when they start to breathe their own hype, and they don't have people around them that are down to earth that can really talk to them and tell them that when they're wrong. Next question, somebody asked, what do you want your legacy to be?
That I came and I saw it and I conquered. And not only that, I'm doing something now that could be bigger than all the boxing. I'm blessing people now. Back in December, I got a call from a friend of mine, and she asked me, had I heard of a company called Total Life Changes? And I told her no. She said, and she was telling me all about it. And she said, well, you know, they got started in 1999. They out of Flint, Michigan, and they have a tea that you can drink. You can lose weight, get in shape. And she went to talk about their products. So I asked her to send me some samples, and she did. And I lost 20 pounds my first 30 days. I started feeling good. Started feeling 20 years younger, and I think this is going to be my legacy, showing people. I sent you some samples the other day. Yep. I didn't send you no samples, but you went on my site and you ordered some stuff. Yeah, and NutriBurst is a good product, great product, get you feeling good. It's just like eating 10 salads. And while people are at home, this is a home-based business. For you can have a home-based business for less than $120, and all of a sudden you can partner with the heavyweight champ of the world. And I tell you, anybody that's on this call, businessman person that's on this call, if you partner with me, you know, I started the Boxing Legends Hall of Fame, and I think what I'm gonna do, I'm getting an RV, so I'm doing a fundraiser to buy that RV, and I'm gonna put anybody that join my team, I'm gonna put their name in the Boxing Legends Hall of Fame.
Okay, awesome. You know, one of the other things too that I was also thinking about your legacy is you have Champion for Kids, which is a nonprofit where you help kids, you mentor kids. And that to me is one of the things I love about you, is that you do have a special heart for kids. If you could just tell us a little bit about that nonprofit and what you guys did.
Yeah, I started in North Carolina when I lived there, and in 2004 I started it. And I mentor kids. I share my story. I go to schools, and I speak at Chamber of Commerce's. I speak at Rotary clubs, and if you guys ever want me to come up there where you are and share my story, and I encourage kids to make good decisions, even though you might get mad. But, you know, when people get mad, they make bad decisions. But I say if you get mad, make good decisions in life, and you become a legend.
Okay. So here's another question I got. Advice on keeping that tunnel vision and finishing what you start.
Advice
on keeping the tunnel vision, staying tunnel focused.
That's going to be up to you. I mean, you know, you can do it, but you got to make a decision that's the right thing to do. I think when people change their route, their mission, when they change, I think you got to fall in love with what you're doing. You got to believe that what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing. And if you don't have total conviction on that, somebody will come along and get you to doing something else.
Very, very true. Next question is kind of going back to, again, staying focused on your goals. You know, and basically what you're saying is you have to make a decision at some point. What's going to be different? How am I going to change? And what level am I going to grow myself to? I think that you start in advance picturing what you want, and then you go after it with everything you got. And I think one of the things that people make a mistake on is waiting to the time to be perfect, or waiting for something else to happen, waiting to get some money. You know, I think right now is going to be such a great time, James, because one, we're about to, you know, a lot of people started getting stimulus checks. Two, the people in this particular group, we're going to be next week, we're going to be working on the $10,000 loans that the SBA is giving to entrepreneurs. And I think you want to take that money and start building whatever vision you want. You're starting today, but you know, I think that's one of the ways of funding it. But I like what James said about starting now and making a decision. I think that's real important.
You could take $50 or $60 and order you some product like you did, and then get the products in your body, see how good they are, and then add another 50 or 60 and get you a business center, and all of a sudden you become a life changer. And if you do that, you join my team, you're gonna be in the Boxing Legends Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So, you know, so what James is talking about, this is NutriBurst. This is something he turned me on to. And the reason why he's turned me on to it is because it gives you energy. It also helps with your metabolism. You know, I'm thinking, you know, right now we're going outside on a constant basis, and with coronavirus out here, we don't know where it is, how it attacks us just yet. I wanted my immune system to be as strong as possible, so that's why I took advantage of that. And I've been taking it on a daily basis. And James, how can they contact you if they were interested in either getting that product or joining your team?
I'm gonna give you my cell phone. Not many celebrities will give you your cell phone. But my number is 910-658-3408. You can text me or call me, 910-658-3408.
Okay, and I'm going to be putting that in the chat so that you guys can get that, and then I'm going to tell you about the other questions that are out there. And I know you do a call.
I would like to give you my website as well if I can.
Sure.
Bonecrusherweightloss.com. Bonecrusherweightloss.com. Join my team and be in the Boxing Legends Hall of Fame with guys like Michael Spinks, Ernest Shavers, a whole bunch of boxing legends that's in there already. You can join up with us. We're going to get an RV, and we come to your city near you.
So, man, James, I thank you for your time so much. And you guys have his number. Like, you can call him directly. He says calls between the hours of 12 and around 7 or 8 is the best time to call. He can tell you about Nutrisystem, and I know he's available also for personal appearances and things like that. Anything else you want to leave us with, James, or you want to say before you go?
God bless you.
All right. Thank you, James.